The best idea rarely wins. Not in meetings, not in organizations. You've probably seen it happen. Someone presents a strong analysis, clear data, logical reasoning, a convincing recommendation, and yet another proposal moves forward. Not necessarily because it is better, but because the right people supported it. This surprises many professionals at first. We are trained to believe that organizations reward the best thinking. But organizations are not only systems of logic. They are systems of people, incentives, and risk. And inside those systems, ideas do not move by themselves. They move when people move with them. Understanding that difference changes how you work forever. Young professionals usually focus on one thing: analysis, better data, better models, better slides, and those things absolutely matter. Clear thinking is the foundation of good decisions, but organizations are not universities. They are not places where the strongest argument automatically wins. Organizations are systems made of people, incentives, responsibilities, and risk. So when leaders evaluate a proposal, they are not only asking, is this correct? They are also asking questions that are rarely written on the slide. Who supports this idea? Who might resist it? Who will actually execute it? And perhaps the most important question of all, who carries the risk if this decision fails? Because in organizations, every decision is also a personal exposure, and an idea without visible support can quickly become something dangerous. Not because it is wrong, but because no one wants to be the only person standing behind it. This leads to another reality that surprises many young professionals. In most organizations, decisions rarely happen in the meeting. They happen before the meeting, in places that never appear on the agenda, in hallway conversations, during quick calls, over coffee breaks, sometimes even during lunch. These moments look informal. They may seem like small talk, but they often serve an important purpose. This is where ideas are tested quietly, where doubts are expressed more honestly, where people ask questions they would never raise in front of a full room, and this is where early reactions begin to shape the outcome. By the time the presentation begins, many leaders already have a sense of which direction feels acceptable. The meeting then becomes something slightly different from what we imagine. Not the place where the decision is created, but the place where the decision becomes visible to everyone else. This is why one of the most valuable professional skills is rarely written in job descriptions: organizational navigation. In complex organizations, influence often begins with a simple question: who actually matters for this decision? And the answer is not always obvious. It is not only the person with the highest title. Sometimes the decisive voice belongs to someone else, the person the boss trusts most, the team that will implement the change, or the stakeholder who has the quiet ability to block the project later. Experienced consultants understand this dynamic very well. Before presenting an idea, they first try to map the organization. They identify who needs to be convinced, who needs reassurance, and who simply needs to feel that the proposal will not create problems for them. In other words, they try to understand how influence really flows inside the system. Once that map exists, the strategy changes. Instead of presenting the final answer immediately, they begin with smaller conversations. They speak to a few key stakeholders. They ask questions. They test reactions. They listen carefully to concerns. And sometimes they adjust the idea itself. Not because the analysis was wrong, but because solutions must also fit the organization that will adopt them. Gradually, something important happens. People begin to recognize the idea. They feel they have participated in shaping it. And when that happens, the proposal no longer feels like something external. It begins to feel familiar. And ideas that feel familiar are much easier to approve. In many cases, the proposal stops being your idea. It becomes our idea. And that subtle shift can change everything. There is a simple rule that experienced consultants quietly follow. If you want your idea to survive the meeting, make sure it has already survived the coffee break. The meeting itself is rarely the battlefield. It is more like the ceremony where the outcome becomes official. The real work often happens earlier, in those smaller moments where alignment slowly takes shape. That is where trust is built, where concerns are addressed, and where ideas gain the support they need to move forward. This is one of the most important lessons about how organizations function. Intelligence matters. Clear analysis matters. But intelligence alone does not move systems. The professionals who consistently shape decisions combine three skills: clear thinking, organizational navigation, and human alignment. Once you understand this, your goal changes. You stop trying to win arguments in the room. You start preparing the room before the conversation even begins. Because in complex organizations, the meeting is not where you win. The meeting is simply where the win becomes visible.